Welcome in to another great edition of Sports Junkies here at RacineSportsZone.com. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer from 105.7 FM The Fan, AM 1250, and you have HD Radio. We're Channel 2 on the 103.7 channel.
You sound like one of those records, you used to put on, you put them at a certain speed, like 33 and then 45. You're going like at what, 15? Hello, I'm Steve Fifer.
The records are popular now.
They are very popular. I was at a record store the other day, and the guy actually said the vast majority of his business right now is records.
Yep, vinyl.
Wow.
He is Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. He was around when they came up with the record player.
Before they came.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about the Green Bay Packers, as they now have lost 3 straight. And I guess the word would be speechless as to how you lose to the
I thought you were
Detroit
going to say,
Lions.
speaking of a broken record.
Oh, that would be good.
There you go.
Yeah, but again, speechless. How do you lose to the Lions?
You know what? I don't want to sound like, oh yeah, I knew this was going to happen.
Because you didn't.
No, I didn't. I thought they would beat the Lions, but I thought it would be a close game. In light of the problems the Packers have had, and the fact that Detroit, believe it or not, does have some talent. Not a lot, and they haven't showed it, but they got players that can be playmakers at times. So I wasn't totally blown away by it. But yeah, it's baffling. I mean, you can say it's Aaron Rodgers, it's the offensive line. You know what's beautiful? Everybody has their own theory on this as to what's going on.
Do you know what's funny about that?
You know?
Josh Siddon, the Packers guard, joins our afternoon show, Wendy's Big Show. Myself, Gary Ellerson, Rami Makloff, and then on Mondays, Leroy Butler after Packer games. And he comes out with us on Tuesdays at 4:35 each week.
Right.
He has for the last couple of years.
It's a good segment. Very good segment.
Okay, so I asked him to start off the interview Tuesday this week about the offensive line. I said, look, you've been under fire nationally, the offensive line has. Do you think it's justified? And he chuckled and laughed. Now, I'll be honest, I was afraid he was going to start swearing at me or something.
He was going to
punch you
through the phone lines.
I didn't know what was going to happen. But then he came back and said, look, not everything is as it seems sometimes. If you go back and look at the number of sacks that happened in the Carolina game, they gave up like 5 or 6 sacks. He said the offensive line was responsible for 3. He said in 61 pass plays, the offensive line was responsible for 1 sack. That's all they were responsible for in that game against the Detroit Lions. Other people want to say, well, they can't run the football well enough. That's on them. Mm-hmm. First of all, James Starks is not Eddie Lacy. Let's start there. The second thing in all of this is, if you talk to most offensive linemen, they will tell you, you run the football better most of the time, in like second halves of the game after you've been running the ball in the first half, because you build up a rhythm, you've been pounding the defensive line a little bit.
Right. Now
things start to open up a little bit more, and the running back gets into a rhythm. When you don't run the football and you want to throw 60 times in a football game, it's going to be hard for any running back in any offensive line to establish that rhythm.
I totally agree. I mean, but at the same time, so he said one time. So is he then throwing Aaron Rodgers under the bus and saying
it could
the
be
other
whoever.
sacks?
As Gary Ellison pointed out, on the 1 sack this week, Starks just missed a blitz. He just totally whiffed on the guy coming through. That would go on Starks. That 1 sack would be on the running back. And Gary talked about he played for the Packers as a running back. He said there are times when you grade the film and the running back is responsible for a sack, or a tight end's responsible for a sack, or it's the offensive line, or it's the quarterback rolling the ball too long. I mean, there's a different variety of players that could be blamed for a different amount of things.
Absolutely. There's a myriad of reasons.
Correct.
Like that. But I just get a kick out of it. Everything's on Rodgers, Well, it's true. He's the highest paid player on the Packers by far. He's one of the highest paid players in the NFL, 1, 2, or 3, right?
I don't know where he is.
He's in the top 3. So, I mean, yeah, a lot of the responsibilities fall on his shoulders. I understand that. But you look at the defense. The first 5 or 6 games. Oh, absolutely.
No, this has nothing to do with the
defense. Oh, it does.
This has to do with your best player on your football team stinks. That's what this has to do with. He stinks. And do you know what's most concerning to me?
I totally disagree. I don't think he stinks.
No.
I don't think he's just at the high level that he normally.
You've seen Rodgers bounce balls into receivers before a lot? Because that's what he did on Sunday.
You know what, though?
Did you see Rodgers overthrow wide open receivers like he has the last couple weeks?
And he still threw for over 300 yards, right?
He had 61 pass attempts.
Yeah,
Give any quarterback 61 pass attempts, he'll get to 300.
Jay Cutler?
Look, yes.
Okay.
But see, that's just it. I get everyone wants to talk about the defense. That defense played more than well enough to win that football game against Detroit. That offense stunk.
Not really.
And specifically, he stunk.
That
then
offense,
McCarthy comes out this week,
yeah.
and McCarthy says, you know what, the problem is sometimes with players on his team is you're chasing the game a little bit. You're trying to do too much and so forth, right?
Yeah.
And now they talked to Aaron Rodgers yesterday. And they asked Aaron Rodgers, Aaron, do you agree with Coach's assessment that maybe you're trying to do too much at times, chasing the game a little bit? Aaron Rodgers says, no, I'm going to do what I do. Right. Okay.
So you think that's being defiant?
What I'm telling you is...
Aaron Rodgers, or do you think he was truthful?
Well, if he thinks he's playing well and he should continue to do what he's doing,
no. He has,
forget define or anything else. He needs to go back and watch his game film because he stinks.
He has conceded he hasn't played well. I don't think he stinks.
Stinks.
He stinks by his standards, yes. But in the big picture,
correct.
Okay, he's still better than a lot of quarterbacks in this league. Okay, even at 80% or whatever he's at.
All right, you're right. I should clarify. He stinks for who he is.
Correct.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's true. They can't win unless he is who he is.
I agree.
When he was hurt, they didn't win a football game for how long? A month? They didn't win a football game?
I agree.
But when he acts like, well, we got all these other issues. Tom Clements is calling plays. So now Tom Clements is under fire.
Yes.
The receivers are under fire because they're all of a sudden too slow. Yet, last time I checked, Randall Cobb don't appear any slower to me than he was last year. Devontae Adams seems to be the same guy he was last year. James Jones was a hero in the beginning of the year. And oh my God, I can't believe all these teams cut James Jones. Anybody see James Jones lately?
Anybody see
No. And now it's, well, the wide receivers can't get separation. The wide receivers can't get open. Okay, let me ask you this. All those receivers that Brett Favre played with for all those years, were they all speed demons? No.
No, but you know what?
Freeman wasn't a speed demon. Robert Brooks wasn't a speed demon. Chamorro wasn't. Most of those guys weren't.
No.
And what Favre did was he threw guys open more times than not. And sometimes he would throw a ball into coverage and it gets picked, okay? He took a chance, and more times than not, it hurt him.
How can anybody criticize Rodgers, though? I'm serious. I'm not saying he's infallible, but I'll tell you what. It's just the opposite of Favre. Favre was way, way too reckless with the ball. And maybe Rodgers is a little too conservative with the ball.
Absolutely.
Okay? But I don't want him to be Brett Favre.
Nobody's saying for him to be Brett Favre. Do you know what I want him to be?
Yeah.
Try and be a playmaker. Try and do something different. Because you know what's happening? This is what's happening. He hikes the ball and he dances, and he dances, and he dances, and he dances. And then nobody gets open, and down he goes.
You know what? But I give him all the credit in the world for doing that. He's biding time for those receivers to get open. They have shown time and time again on replays, the receivers are not getting open for the most part.
What did old Aaron Rodgers used to do?
You know what? I'll tell you what. I think defenses have made an adjustment, which I couldn't believe they haven't done years ago.
What's the adjustment?
They're playing tight coverage.
They're playing up on the line because they can't get off above and run.
And if you go back even to last year, guys were 5 to 7 yards off the receivers. Mm-hmm. Now they're saying like bump and run. Hey, you
realize they're bringing 7 guys up in the box and daring the Packers to throw the football.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. They're walking people up and going, Aaron, you can't beat us. You can't beat us, and neither can your receivers. So you know what? We're going to play up here, make sure Lacey or Starks don't do anything, and that's how we're going to beat you. I'm sorry. When your best player is being taunted by the opposing defense by how they're lining up defensively, and he can't cash in, there's a problem. Now, you could say it's Rodgers. You could say it's play design and not making adjustments to the personnel you have. Okay. Because if this is what they were running with Jordy, who can get off of press coverage, who can beat you deep, now you don't have those guys. So are we going to make adjustments offensively with play designs? Because they're running isolation routes.
I don't know what they can do to adjust.
Well, I'll tell you.
I think, okay.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, look, I can hear this. Todd Clemens is listening too.
No, fine. But they run more isolation routes, again, the stuff you read, than most people in the NFL. Most people are running combo routes. So when you do your progression...
No, that's not true. Last week I saw where they ran a bunch of plays where they had 2-3...
I understand that. But I'm just telling you, going into last week, that was one of the flaws. Saying it was making it very difficult for Rodgers to make his progressions when you have everything going off individual routes to scan the field. Okay?
Right.
So now, you want to know what I would do differently? I'll tell you what I do differently. I'd go back, get some Bill Walsh tape, throw it in, and say, I want to see what they did back then. Do you remember what they did back then?
Yeah, they had a guy named Jerry Rice. That's what they had back then.
No, but I understand that. But hold on. Do you know what they did back then? They had pro set, right? So you had your halfback and your fullback standing side by side. You had Rathman and Craig, right? So you had the ability to hand it off to the fullback. Or you had Craig, or they could just leak out and have that safety valve. Mm-hmm. When was the last time you saw him check down to a safety valve out in the flat?
Yeah, not often. That's
That doesn't happen. It's not even in the offense.
But you know
because
what?
it's McCarthy's offense. It's not the West Coast offense. How many times have you seen him run a naked boot with a tight end?
You know what?
How many times have you seen him do that?
We could talk until next Sunday's game about what's wrong with the Packers.
My point is, there's stuff they can do.
But one quick thing that Rodgers brought up at his press conference this week, okay? He was talking about Jordy Nelson demanding double coverage, okay?
Yep.
He kind of threw...
That Jordy still got open.
Exactly, but now he's kind of throwing Cobb under the bus.
He is getting double coverage.
And Cobb cannot... No. He said in his press conference that Cobb wasn't, that they were going one-on-one with him. And that makes all the world... I mean, how do guys get open? If Randall Cobb can't get open, they're in big-time trouble.
I'm going to go back, and I'm going to pull up numerous people that had died, that went over tape, that talk about Cobb getting double coverage. And now he's saying that it's not happening.
He said only occasionally.
Only occasionally.
Yeah. I can't remember exact words, but it wasn't like Nelson. The coverage that Nelson would get.
Well, no, because Nelson's a far better player.
But if you're going one-on-one,
Cobb is not a number one.
Exactly.
Never has been. Never will be.
Correct.
But we all knew this before now.
Yeah.
So again, I go back to play design and making adjustments. And now Aaron Rodgers apparently is hurt. He's got his right shoulder injury. Now, how significant is it?
And by the way, did I not say that 2 weeks ago on this show?
That something was wrong.
That Rodgers was hurt. I said I have nothing to base it on. But if you watch him, he's hurt. And I'm giving the guy a big break. I really believe he's hurt.
I don't know.
He comes out 2-3 weeks, like Andrew Luck. Did anybody know the extent of Andrew Luck's injury until last week?
But you know what, Gary? As Gary Ellerson tells me all the time, if you're healthy enough to be out there, then I expect you to perform.
Well, true, you can perform, but not to the level that you normally do.
He's not close to the level where he normally
No.
is. So Aaron Rodgers, it's on you, bud. They don't beat the Vikings.
Hang in there, Aaron Rodgers.
They don't beat the Vikings.
I'll tell you what, still wouldn't trade him for anybody except Tom Brady. So
who do you pick? They're not beating the Vikings. Not with him as quarterback. Not right now.
Yeah, I think he might be getting better. It might be one of those 2-3 week things.
So who wins?
I'll take the Packers.
You're taking the Packers.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Vikings.
I think the Vikings are going to face a dose of reality over the next 5-6 weeks.
And if you want some fun, go follow Olivia Munn on Twitter. She's going after every journalist in the country. All right, have a good rest of your day.
And you're the next one.
I didn't write anything about her.
It's just what you said.
What? She went after other columnists.
Olivia,
other
go
writers.
after them.
I'm not going to say what I wanted to say. He's Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer. Enjoy the rest of your day here at Racine Sports.
What do you mean you don't want to say what you want to say? You always say what you want.